Hello and welcome to another Zach Carnage video, and this time we have not just any deck profile for you. This is Igknights Synchro. Now, you may be wondering, why on earth would you make a Synchro build of Igknights? Well, the reason for this was because Trish came back, and honestly this deck can make Trish turn 1 so very easily. So we're going to go through the deck profile and then just give some ideas. Now keep in mind this is not heavily focused on Synchro, so it's still obviously Igknights. So we play 3 copies of Gallant, 3 Margrave or Margrave, 3 Paladin, only 2 Crusader. Honestly, testing ratios, you only need the 2, and 3 copies of Squire. Changes I would make, obviously I don't currently have the Templars, I'm looking into picking them up, and they would switch for the Margraves. The rank 5s that you build with this deck are absolutely terrible. Literally the only space you have in the extra deck is for a Durandal or a Volcasaurus, and seeing as I can't find my Volca, it's being taken up with a Durandal. So I would take out 2 of these for Templars, as well as 1 Squire. Having 5 3s though is pretty good. It allows you to make Trish way faster. So that's for the Igknights. Then tech, we play 3 copies of Royal Magical Library. This is your super fast draw card, which lets you get through almost your entire deck in turn 1 if you want to. Obviously the preference is to use this as many times as possible standardly, but I honestly think that you don't want to overuse this card. I mean, you can potentially go through your entire deck and make this into an FTK deck because of the way it's built, but it's better to underuse this and save some stuff in your hand, especially if you can leave 2 different scales in your hand for the following turn. That allows you to resummon everything, so you're safe even if you get Wavering Eyes or Spell Shattering Arrowed or anything like that. And then what makes the deck so insanely fun to play is 1 copy of Junk Synchron. People are going to query this, you know, why isn't it a Rescue Hamster or whatever. Honestly, this card, because of the way that you can utilize it, is so much better. It's searchable with Rota, it's dark, allowing you to go into Beals with Margrave super easily. Because it's a 3, you can use this with 2 of the other 3s, which are really easy to summon, to make Trishula, plus because it's a 3, it's summonable by the scale. Honestly, this card could not be more perfect, unless it's like, if its effect actually helped the deck, then it would be slightly better. But apart from that, honestly, this card is really good. So that's what's going to let you make your Synchro plays, and then for searching we play 3 copies of Rota, the obligatory change in rarity when you go to the 3rd copy, obviously letting you search any of your Igknights that are level 4 or lower, plus letting you search Junk Synchron, which is absolutely fantastic. 3 copies of Summoner's Art, same reason as Rota basically, except you can't hit with Junk Synchron with it. Then we play 2 copies of Terraforming. I was thinking about bringing this up to 3, but if I'm honest, the amount of draw power you have in the deck is enough that you don't need to play the 3rd copy. It would just be a waste, really, because you have to take out something that's more important. The reason why we play double Terraforming is because we have 3 copies of Ignition Phoenix. This card is actually really underrated. It allows you to turn any one of your Ignite monsters into 2 Ignite monsters, because normally you'd have to get rid of 2 to search. You can just send one from the field or the Pendulum Zone with this, and then get a new one. Being able to send from the field is absolutely fantastic as well, because if you end your turn and you haven't been able to go off too hard, then you've obviously got loads of defense position Ignites, and this lets you switch out one for a new one, so then all you have to do is have one in hand and you can set up your scale immediately. Then for more draw power we have 3 Upstart Goblins. I finally managed to pick up 3 more ones after my other ones got handed off to a friend. Then we've got 3 Chicken Games for extra draw power. This makes Terraforming all that more viable. This is why I was thinking about playing 3 Terraforming, but if I'm honest, Chicken Game is still useful in its own effect. There have been times when people have gone to OTK me and have just forgotten about Chicken Game and then can't deal with it, which is absolutely insane. Then 2 Pot of Riches. Obviously this essentially slows down your engine in a way, because you won't be able to do any of your Xyz summons or your Synchro summons. But what it does do is absolutely fantastic to just hold in your hand at the end of your turn, because doubtless you're going to make an Xyz monster, and that will put your pieces in the grave, or you might get hit with some sort of, I don't know, a solemn warning or something, anything that sends you to the grave, and this card is just instant recovery, which is fantastic. And the final 3 cards in the deck are, in fact, traps. So we play 2 copies of Tyrant Throws, the ultimate floodgate that this deck can somehow run. Is absolutely awesome that you can actually do something like that. So it's really good to see this card back in play on your own side. Some people will be playing 3 for the control build. I don't play 3 because double drawing this is horrible. Like really, really horrible if you can't use it. Having 2 that you can use is fantastic, but double drawing it without use is terrible. That's why we play a Vanity's Emptiness over the 3rd copy, because this doesn't have any specific requirements at the beginning, it just stops the special summons. And honestly, stopping the special summons can win you the game at this stage. Another good thing is that you can still summon, you can still like Z-summon normal monsters over Tyrant Throws, so we'll be seeing some interesting stuff to do with that in just a bit when we get onto the extra deck. Now keep in mind I haven't actually taken this deck to a tournament yet, so the sleeves for the extra deck are a bit messed up. But what we do have is 1 Mech-Whipped Engineer. I think this is one of the ideal rank 3s for you to play this deck, which I'll explain in just a little bit. We also have a Wind-Up Zen Mains because I do not have an Alucard. I think I would play, was always between this and Alucard, and honestly Zen Mains allows you to pop anything, so. Then we have a Nightmare Shark because I need to be able to OTK when possible. Same reasoning behind the Heartland Draco, well, sorry, not OTK, finish off the game, because a lot of people are leaving less than 1,000 life points at the end of the game now. So same thing for Heartland Draco, it's really, really key. Castel is staple in every deck that can make rank 4s. Gem Knight Pearl is summonable over Tyrant Throws, which is fantastic. And then we have the obligatory number 86 Rongominiad, which obviously would be so much better if I had the 3 Templars, so I'm trying to trade for them at the moment. And hopefully I'll be able to switch them out and get this into the deck in a much better state. I do have a second one which I'll be putting in as well when that happens. Still good cards are things like Ptolemaeus, which obviously you use Diamond to help you rank up into Pleiades. Pleiades being my absolute favourite rank 5, and so many times turn 1 you can make these 2 together, which is an absolute, like, it's absolutely horrible for your opponent. Generally you'll have to put these both in attack, otherwise they'll immediately go into the Engineer. But then they will, because they see them both in attack, they'll make the option to go after the Pleiades, so that you can switch the Pleiades to defense, and then you'll lose the Engineer. But honestly, I do not mind. If you can protect your Pleiades, even once per turn with an Engineer, is fantastic, because you'll still get that return. And with the sheer number of level 4 monsters in this deck, you're going to have multiple materials on your Pleiades. So it's fantastic however you make it. Then, obviously, I said before, we have the 1 Durendal, which would be Volcasaurus if I had a Gaia Charger, to be honest. But this allows you to protect your Pendulum monsters as well. And Utopia Beyond is my favourite of the... basically, I was choosing between this and Strike Bouncer, and because you generally want to OTK with this deck, Utopia Beyond is generally the better option to go with. So that's it for the Exceed monsters. And then we have 3 Synchro monsters. So 7, I went for Clearing Synchro Dragon. This is because you will never want to make a Black Rose Dragon. Like, if you have to make a Black Rose Dragon, you're in a terrible position, because you lose your Pendulum Zones. Like, the only time you would want to make it is if you draw a Junk Synchron, you've already got a level 4 on board, and you activate your Pendulum Zones to add a second Pendulum, because you'll need multiple in your hand. And then you'll summon the Black Rose, destroy everything, and then have to Pendulum after that. So it uses up an enormous amount of resources in that case, which is terrible. So this is significantly better, just in the fact that you can potentially win against things like Shadol with this card, which is really, really key in the meta, I think. So this is actually a fantastic card. Then we play 1 Beals, because there are still decks out there which struggle to get past Beals. I think this could be a Void Ogre Dragon instead, because you empty your hands so fast with Pendulum decks. But Beals is more fun to summon just because of what it is. Obviously someone's going to bounce it if they can. But you find that unless you're playing against like a rank 4 deck, that just being able to bounce stuff randomly doesn't happen that often. Obviously we're going to see Magispectors, and this is useless when Magispectors come out because they can send stuff to the deck with searchable cards. But other than that, this is just for now, this card is still very, very good. And then, obviously, the final card is the 1 Trishula Dragon of the Ice Barrier, or Trishula Drache de Eisenbarriere. Barriere. I can't speak German, okay? So this is the Trish, which you make very, very simply. All you need is your junk Synchron and I don't know, a pair of level 3s. And because you can pendulum summon every single one of these, you can pendulum 3, you could then, like, potentially pendulum basically anything. I don't know, generally you want to go for another rank 4 if you've got 2 spaces, so you can bring out the 2 paladins. Synchro summon with these, obviously because these are being synchro summoned from the field, that means that they're going to go to the extra deck. You'll lose your junk Synchron, which is unfortunate, but you'll be able to make a Trish. The better play would be, if I could find it, I would be playing a Daigusto Emerald in my extra deck, probably over the Heartland Draco, and then you'd be able to get rid of, you'd be able to make these into a Daigusto when this dies, so that you can shuffle this back, and probably shuffle a Paladin back, meaning that you can make Trish multiple times, which is fantastic. Obviously, you can't use Synchro with this deck because it is a pendulum deck and it requires your materials to be in the grave, which is slightly unfortunate, but you can use Synchro in other decks, I suppose. But it's still fantastic that you can actually make this card in turn 1 very, very easily, because all of the key cards are searchable. Like Rota goes into this, and any Ignite allows you to get your level 3 Ignites. So thank you for watching this video. If you have any comments or suggestions that you would like to make, please feel free to leave a comment in the comment section down below. I'd love to hear any of your criticisms or your positive feedbacks, any ideas that you have for the Synchro build. As always, thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video.